Beyond the Rift has begun, starring the one and only, the magnificent. I haven't done this stupid intro in a while, so I'm just going to say it's me. I'm a cutie pie, the world champion of Dignitas. And joining me today, my wonderful co-host, the beautiful, as always, Scar. Give him a quick little intro.
What's up, guys? I used to be Kitty's teammate for two different teams, I guess, now. And then I've also been I've kind of been around the world in League of Legends esports. And now I'm here joining you guys to introduce Rick Fox.
Rick Fox, ladies and gentlemen, the king of esports, as many people have called him. I think
that's intense.
Yeah, people around the world have been hailing him the king of esports around some circles. Rick Fox, king. How do you prefer to be known as, Mr. Rick, Sir Rick?
Echo Fox Rick, because that's my tag name whenever I'm competing. So whenever I get killed in game, if you see me, it's usually as Echo Fox Rick. That's what usually happens, and then people give me the finger, and then they dance at my body, and so just Rick. Rick is just fine, man.
That's a good intro into League, man. That sounds like every one of my League of Legends games in a nutshell. So that's good stuff right there. Before we're gonna get into the topics, but before we do so, I want to give a quick shout out to Discord. Amazing program that we are using currently for voice. I love it, dude. Everything's coming in crisp and clear. It's wonderful, dude. Look at us, man. This is impossible without.
I think we actually look pretty good, right?
Yeah, we're looking excellent.
Looking great.
All three of us are looking. Looks to kill, exactly. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get to the topics, what the people came for. So we're going to start off with topic number 1. Delta Fox. This is going to be a spicy one. Delta Fox ended the regular season top 6 in the league. Pretty good top 6. What are your general thoughts about the team? Would you have liked to change anything in hindsight? So we can go in order. I'll start off. I'll say, okay. I thought Delta Fox, it could have gone better. Obviously, top 6, that's not bad. That's an achievement in and of itself. Not a lot of people can say that. We also can say that we aren't the worst team to have ever competed in NACS because that's Team Gates. So that's another achievement. So I'd say, you know what? It wasn't the worst thing in the world. It wasn't as bad as it would seem. Scar, what do you think?
I kind of mirror your thoughts. I'm thinking that if we wanted to really catapult ourselves higher, you'd probably look to replace me with maybe a little bit of a better jungler, someone who plays the role. But aside from that,
blasphemy. We will not subscribe to that.
That's what I like to hear. Rick Fox, let me ask you something. For the people out there, they were like, this team, they looked at this team, you know what they said? These guys are garbage. Rick Fox, what'd you see in us that made you not?
I'll tell you what I saw. You guys in the intros right out of the gate, I mean, let's go to the resumes, right? I mean, I don't think there's anyone with the experience of the collective group, the track record of esports in terms of league that we could have been blessed to have been in business with. That's just a given right there. Look, we finished 6th, you said, right?
6th. Yeah.
You know that there has not been an Echo Fox league team in any category that's finished higher than 7th until you guys finished 6th.
I didn't even know that. Well, round of applause to us. Good shit, everyone.
So I'm going to say we're indebted to you, and thank you very much for raising the level of the entire organization when it comes to League of Legends. So you guys are the reigning team when it comes to success for us. So if I was you guys, I'd be calling for renegotiation, contract extensions, the works.
Thank you for that, dude. I gotta be honest. I read some of those Reddit threads. I was feeling kind of bad. I was like, oh man, these guys really think this stuff about me. Hearing this from you though,
no.
You don't agree with that?
For 1 second, I'm telling you, not for 1 second did we waver in what it was we came together to do from our side. And I mean, you guys obviously know how to play this game and have played it at a high level and are capable of getting back to whatever level you choose, if not surpassing what you've done in the past. And it's obviously a function of time, commitment, and effort. You guys are splitting multiple responsibilities in your own personal lives, coming together at in a short amount of time to actually compete against guys that are focusing, 24, hours of their day, in preparation leading up to the Challenger Series was really, putting you guys up against, start if you're running and it's a short 5, week sprint, but it's like running the 100-yard dash and everyone else is at the 80-yard line ready to, with 20 yards left to run and you guys are just coming out of the gate. So, that I don't think that was fair in any way, to be judged based on when you guys actually came together and decided to really figure out what you guys would be as a group and a unit together. So I commend you for even, attempting, to figure out, what you could do and then competing, man. You guys are champions, man. And I appreciate it immensely.
I'm just going to say your ability to put those words together to make that was beautiful. Like that shit was that was fucking inspiring right there. Like you put those words together and you just put me to shame with whatever garbage is going to come out of my mouth right here. So good stuff on that right there. Let me ask you something though. So I'm sure you watched did you watch any of our Delta Fox games?
I did.
Okay. If
there were right moments, man.
Yeah, we had our moments. We definitely had our chance.
You carried on Twitch?
Yeah. No, I was popping off. I was doing something those games. So
the blitz on the one win.
Yeah.
Come on, man. It's not like there weren't shining moments, right? It's like you guys had moments of highlights, right? Where you reached back and you pulled out what you did so effortlessly, individually and collectively when you played competitively in the NALCS. There was glimpses, right? And it was just not enough time to piece all those glimpses into a full expression of a season. You just didn't have enough time. So, to me, like I said, I can go together and go back and pull out of all of your games enough clips and put together a highlight reel, and it looked just as impressive as the top tier NALCS teams out there now. So I in no way look back on that and say, hey, you know what, there was no bright spots. I'm not judging. We can't judge you by the record. It's not fair.
That's what I like to hear, my man. Let me ask you.
Music to my ears, right there.
Yeah, that was some good stuff. But since I know you play a little bit of League of Legends, I've seen you stream. If you had to replace players, who would you replace on the team? Let's say you have to replace 2 players. I'm saying that's a given, but
we burned Delta Fox to the ground. Like what? How do you replace? Look. Here's the thing. Here's what we can't lose. We can't lose the synergy and the commitment that you guys spent in those weeks to build back to what was a level that you were playing at, right? So now, even though there may have been bumps in the road there as you guys were working out the kinks. Look, Scar's playing out of position. There are a lot of sacrifices that went into making that possible for you guys to actually be together. Individual sacrifices, a collective sacrifice. And so I wouldn't want to split it up. Me personally, I leave it for you guys and management, the coaching staff to decide, hey, you know what, we want to go at this. I'd hate to see any of you decide to retire a second time. It's like, no, it's too early. Things are just heating up in League of Legends to the point where, I believe if you wanted to, any of you could actually be, full-time NALCS players again. So that's just a function of your own personal commitment of energy and time. But you guys are massive in your own entities as brands, and you have a lot going on. I mean, Scar, you guys are all analysts and broadcasters. You guys command audiences that you connect to on a daily basis. So, just giving us the time you've given us to represent Delta Fox and to compete on our behalf has been it's been amazing, man. So breaking it up would be, why don't we just add to it? We've been the first team to go, right? We were the first team to go to a 10-man roster. Why don't we build out Delta Fox and you guys decide who you want to add into the mix, right? I mean, I'm sure there's some guys you might say, would round us out, make us stronger, that we can, based on, commitment of schedules and stuff, we can figure out how to grow that team a little bit, man.
That's not a bad idea. Maybe instead of breaking it down, we should build it up. I never thought about that either. The way I can respect that, but I gotta get at least this one person on the team you replace. If you have to replace one person, let's just say Riot Games doesn't allow you to have this roster. There's too many veterans on the team, and you need to replace one player, and that player can't be me.
What?
And I'll throw in that curveball too. That player can't be me.
Wow, that curveball.
Here's what I would do. I would elevate someone into a management position, pay them more, and entice them to actually take on more responsibility beyond just the playing side of things. So I'm never going to demote anyone that has given us their trust and has sacrificed. So who would you say is most qualified to be in a management position?
Is the management position just a slick way of kicking someone off the team? I nominate Skara for that one. Skara can be the manager.
Wait, you more responsibilities.
Honestly, I think Voy is just more competent than me in a management role, so I would trust him to follow our dreams and desires and take it to the top.
Okay, so you're
nominating Voy?
Yeah, I'd nominate Voy.
Okay,
what would Voy say about this?
Voy would be happy, dude. Voy would
agree.
Yeah, he'd agree with that one.
He liked that one?
Yeah, of course he did. Dude, Voy lives for that stuff. So I vote Skara for manager. Skara votes Voy. Rick Fox, who are you voting for manager?
I'm voting for you.
Man, come on.
No, I might have to vote for Dyrus because he's actually been in the offices at times over and would actually know how to get around.
All right, okay, you vote for Dyrus. All right, let's put an end to this topic then. Let's go to the next one. Some good stuff from there. Let's talk about, with franchising around the corner, is there a chance you'd like to see the overall LCS league or format for the 2018 split? Scar, what is this question? Is there a chance you'd like to see the overall LCS league or format?
Oh, a change. Not
a change.
Yeah. Like a change to the format. Like, do you think it's good right now? Do you think it's kind of wonky? Would you like to see something different? Because it's going on the up. That's what franchise means, right?
Right. Well, first of all, I guess I'm curious because you guys have been obviously a part of this way longer than I have. Just because I have some ideas, but is it something that is needed, you think, or is it something that you feel things, should traditionally stay the way they've been? Because the only thing that comes to my mind are when I think of a season as LCS is year long as it is. I mean, I'd love to see games, in the middle of the week myself. I mean, I come from, having played, 3 to 4 games a week and sometimes. So waiting for Friday, Saturday, Sunday is always frustrating for me. I wish they would break something up on Wednesdays when it comes to the NALCS. I mean, I watch, other regions, but just for me personally, seeing Echo Fox compete on a Wednesday and a Thursday and then also a Saturday would be great. Longer than 9-week splits, please. Only because it doesn't allow for a lot of time to experiment or to try out, different strats. And for me, just, it always, if you get out the gates, as we have in the past, unfortunately, you get out the gates slow, you're scrambling just to stay afloat and you can't really tinker with too much. We chose to tinker a lot the last split here this summer, and we had some successes. But then again, it's still a challenge of growing. So I would say longer, maybe a 12-week or a 30-week full year season with mid
30 weeks. Oh my God!
I don't know. I like a lot of leagues, man. I want to watch a lot of it.
Do you worry about player burnout or anything?
Yeah, of course I do. But here's what I know. You tell me, you guys know this, man. We love league, right? I mean, if the teams aren't competing, our players are playing. They really are. They're playing anyway. I played basketball year round when I was a pro. It was something that I couldn't get enough of, and yes, I had to take care of my body and my mind and do the things to create longevity to my career, which personally you're responsible for. And yes, you lean on your organization that I was a part of to help and assist in that. But man, if I wasn't playing in an arena, I was down at some gym, some high school gym or some other gym playing, because it was what I did and it was what I loved. So I don't know if I subscribe fully to the fact that the players would actually just take it off and not play and compete. I think they love it too much. I think they're too competitive. They want to come back stronger and better than than they did the year before. And with more games, comes more revenue, comes more money for the players to make more money. So I think it's just my idea of what I would hope we could grow to. But that's where the 10-man roster comes in. That's where maybe 15-man rosters come in. I don't know. That's where you have enough players where you can rotate guys in and out and kind of reserve and save the bodies and create longevity that way as well.
Yeah, I mean, with the 10-man roster, I definitely think that's a good idea for helping out with the longevity for players. Because, I mean, I don't know how it is right now. I'm sure you probably know a lot better than me, Rick Fox, because, I mean, they're your players. But, do you get that much of a break period? How many breaks does a player usually get? It's usually just Monday break, and then they're just back to playing until.
Yeah, I mean that when we first came in, and I'm gonna. Can you get a little more light? Just off the line. Thanks. Sorry. I appreciate that, Haley. Thank you very much. Thank you, Haley. See, that's better light. There we go. So, appreciate that, Haley. So I think the 10-man roster helps. I think also when I think of longevity as a whole, it's a support, right? We've been doing this now for only 2 years, 4 splits, and it is increasingly difficult to really maintain a level of competition and compete with the guys that have been around 6 or 7 years in terms of their excellence, because they know what they're doing, right? And we have an individual in Froggen, as you know, who's been with us for the whole time we've been together. Keith has been with us the entire time. We've tried to build through their growth, and we hope they have long careers because we've invested in them for the long haul. I mean, and so your question was, because I kind of ran on after I tried to get some light so I could actually be seen. Did that answer the question?
I mean, do your players ever feel like exhaustion or anything like that?
So about the breaks. Yeah. So we're unlike maybe some of the other orgs. When we first came in, it was. I mean, we had 10-week sprints where it was, long hours around the clock, and I put my own personal body through it to be there with the team and to understand what they're going through. And then as of recently, this last split, we went completely away from the type of demands that some teams put on their players, and maybe it shows in our results. I don't know, but I think there's a healthier player when the player is, has hours that they are required to work, which we create, and those are usually about an 8-hour day. It's all we ask of our players, with breaks in between and lunch breaks, and we stream in-house, so we don't have to follow any other scrim schedule that other teams might be locked into. Scrim blocks are 10 to 1 with a break, and then 3 to 6 or whatever. there's those traditional scrim blocks, and some teams will go 7 to 10 at night. We keep it in house. We require them 8 hours, and what they do on their time after that, we encourage them to have a life. We encourage them to go see a movie, go on a date, really have a life. Because when I played, I wasn't at the Lakers didn't require me to be at the gym 16 hours a day. They paid me a hell of a lot of money, and they held me accountable to show up and obviously be great at what I do. Now, what I chose to do in the hours that I wasn't at the Laker practice facility, yes, I put additional time in. I watched film on my own. I took care of my body. I got therapy and stuff. I did all those things on my own, but it was my choice. So at the end of the day, if you want to be a pro and you want to have longevity in a professional career, you're going to take the steps and have a personal commitment to your time outside what your organization demands of you. So we're recruiting and signing what we believe are players that want to have long careers and want to be great and want to be champions. And we're trusting them outside of what we do here in our practice facility, structurally. We're trusting them to have some accountability and ownership in their own growth. And obviously, we finished 7th, so that's not where we want to end up. We want to be world champions. We want to be a championship organization. And so we continue to pursue and evaluate our players that are currently on our roster. And we look to see, how we put together the best team moving forward into another season if we're fortunate enough to be a part of League of Legends moving forward.
Okay. Scar, is there anything that you'd like to see changed about LCS League format?
Holy. I just don't like best of threes in general from a viewer perspective. I think that, I like to revert back actually to the best of one format. Because even though I think best of twos are good and probably best for the players, I think in every international format, there still is best of ones at the very beginning before you go into groups. And I think that because that's the case, best of ones were way more enjoyable from a viewer perspective. I could just turn it on and be like, oh shit, dude, 6 different teams are playing today, all best of ones. I love it. Even if a team sucked and I didn't want to watch Team Liquid versus whatever, it doesn't matter because I could just wait an hour and watch something else.
Yeah. I mean, there's an argument for that. I mean, look, that's a little bit of the March Madness, model where it's look, no matter how good you are, look, we've beaten, even when we sucked, even when we weren't very good and we were young in league, we've upset teams. We beat TSM in a one game scenario, or there were splits where if it was only still a one game, format, we would have had a much better record. It may have been a playoff team. Wasn't the case. We've grown into figuring out how to be more than just a one and done guy. The best of 3. It gave us more games, more experience, and we grew through that. But I hear you, Scar. I don't necessarily disagree with you. It is more entertaining for sure, and there are more upset opportunities, definitely.
Yeah, I think best of ones would be interesting. I mean, I like watching best of threes because it shows who the better team is. But best of ones definitely. It can make for some fiesta type of stuff right there. Someone just blows someone out of the water with some absolutely dumb thing, and it's just what the hell's going on? So
you can cheese, and then you can actually, you can find yourself knocking off a top tier team.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's interesting. Is there anything else, Scar, you'd like to see changed about the format?
No, not at the moment. I think just from pure spectator point of view, that's the only thing I'm looking for. And then I'm sure they have way more ideas with the amount of I guess money coming into the league.
I mean, would you want to see something like CS:GO where they have a bunch of random tournaments, things like that, or no?
The thing is, realistically, I don't think Riot will ever do that. 100%. I just feel like they're locked into a league type of situation, and so because of that, I'm not hoping and praying for this crazy thing where we have 4 majors, some minors, all this stuff. I just think it's going to be a league format, and I work with the idea.
Okay, fair enough. I'm happy with the format as it is, so I got nothing on it.
Well, if it goes to ones, if it was to switch back to that, would you want to see more games then? Instead of just 18 games, would you want?
Oh, yeah.
If it was best of ones, hell yeah. More games. I'll be so down to see more games. Best of ones. Best of ones are hilarious.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one then. Next topic. What's the future look like for Echo Fox and the NALCS, assuming they will be competing in 2018? They will be competing in 2018. There's no assuming, Scar. Will the team be completely rebuilt?
Wow. Well, look, thank you for the assumption, because I hope that is a reality. That's something you see on my board here. It's on one of my lists of things to do every day. Pray for franchise 4 times daily. So that's number 3. Yeah. So there's definitely, improvements that need to be made. I mean, that is, you don't finish 7th and go and celebrate, right? Unless it's back in the era where there was relegation and you could go to the relegation tournament, and which we've experienced, quite frankly, and won't miss if we're a part of the LCS moving forward. There's some excitement that comes with the promotional tournament, but yeah, I mean, there's going to be evaluation. We're going through them now. We're obviously not competing in the playoffs. That sucks. We're not going to be a part of Worlds. That sucks even more. And we have players that have improved. Having our 10-man rosters allowed us to really evaluate some of our young players and their talents and whether or not they need to move up with opportunity. And then, look, I feel like we were unsuccessful to the level that we aspire to be going forward with last year's free agency market when it came to North American talent, growing our North American talent base when it comes to our roster. There are some pretty much everyone is on the market almost going forward this year. So when we sit down and we look at who we think would really fill out an Echo Fox and be an addition to what we have already, look, I have my own personal thoughts and ideas, but it's I really entrust our league general manager and staff to really make those decisions and be in consultation with the coaches and come up with a plan. But look, I have some favorites that go all the way back to my just being a fan of of league and certain teams and certain players for a while. So I'm hoping we make some decisions and we find some amazing additions that make us really more competitive than we've been so far.
I mean, what kind of players are you talking about? You gotta name some names if you're saying you got some people that you're liking.
Well, look, I think we got to look at every position, right? As we grow, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't say like there's a specific position that we're not happy with or an individual we're not happy with. You got to remember, we lean more on the side of growing our roster and growing our org with talented guys and having a depth of talented guys. But with that understanding, we know everybody wants to compete. Everybody wants to play. Well, who's to say we don't have more games, right, in league next year if they expand the league with teams, or if they expand the weeks we play or the amount of games we play. All of that is a possibility, which would give everybody on a bigger roster a chance to compete. I think it's healthy when you have organization competition. Keeps everyone sharp. Let me think. So yes, I would say I would look at bringing in, if I could bring in a top tier at every position, I'd be open to do that. Why not? It makes us stronger. Remember, we scrim in-house against each other, right? And so having 10 of the top players in the game on Echo Fox makes us pretty darn good. So if you guys say to me, hey, look, we want to entertain, playing in NALCS, why wouldn't I talk to the 5 of you guys about it? I mean, I'd start there.
That's what I like to hear right there. Rick, we got something to talk about after the show then.
All right.
But let me ask you, you got any names though specifically of players that you think if you had them on your roster you'd be like, this guy's going to elevate Echo Fox to the next level?
Well, look, I think it's always a two-way street. Having been a player, and I would give you I could just start throwing out names, but having been a player, I always feel like it has to be a mutual. There has to be a mutual desire there, right? I can recruit the hell out of somebody and overpay them and entice them to come, and really at the end of the day find out that their core desire was to be on some other team. Really, like they've been a long time fan of XYZ team, and even though we sold them, we wooed them, we paid them, they really at their core heart of hearts are still, wanting to be somewhere else. So I always take that into consideration, because sometimes players will come, and I did it. I turned down $20 million to play for the Lakers at a time, and I took a $1 million contract because I wanted to play with Shaq and with Kobe and for Jerry West and Dr. Buss, these individuals that were championship-driven organizations. So I sacrificed more money to become a champion, which then led to more money. So I don't know if there's players out there that look at Echo Fox that way yet, because we haven't won championships. So I wouldn't expect really them to sacrifice from a money standpoint. Now, if they look at us and they say, hey, we see where you're going. We like what you're doing. We like, the org and what it stands for. And they see themselves as someone that would want to be a part of that and take it to the next level. Well, then that's how you really, I think that's really how you make a legacy for yourself, right? When you go someplace and you take an organization or a team that's never tasted the success and you lift them to that level. Well, then you become an icon in that, associated with that brand, and you become almost like you carve out more legacy for yourself with that organization. So when I think of some players, I can think of all the top tier players from any team, right? Let's go to any team. Right? Let's start. We have a great player in Froggen, right? You go and you see Bjergsen, who is one of the MVP candidates with TSM. He's been there for a long-standing time, right? He is a TSM branded type player, right? So you go to Jensen and Cloud9. You go to CLG, Aframu, Darshan. These are guys, Hui. These are all individuals that when I think of them in association with their brands, right? As they've risen those teams to a level that you associate with them. Now, free agency, though, changes the game, right? At some point, these players will start to think of themselves as, commodities and have opportunities, and they'll look at the landscape and they'll think, okay, well, where do I want to make a move? Am I happy with the place I'm at, or do I want to make a move and shift to another organization? And if that's the case, it could be anyone. It could be us. It could be, any of the however many teams make it in franchising for 2018 season. I think you'll see a lot of movement. And so with that movement, we'll look and we'll no longer think of players solely as being attached to the brands they've been a part of for so long. What I'm more curious with, because you guys really have better eyes on this than I would have. When you think of our roster, when you think of our organization, who do you think would fit perfectly with us and would take us to another level? Starting with yourselves and thinking about who we have and the strengths we have. What would you think?
I was gonna ask. That's what I was gonna ask Scar. Scar, you can start up. If you had to build, let's say you had to build Echo Fox, we're keeping Froggen. Is that, you agree with that, Scar?
Yep, I guess, sure.
What do you mean you get? Who would you want instead of Froggen?
Oh no, I'm not saying. I mean, usually there's always a trade-off, right? I can't just ask for, let's rebuild SKT, but just rename them Echo Fox, right? Just get Faker mid lane and just bang and fill out all the positions, right? So usually keeping Froggen means that there's this trade-off in some other position.
I mean, he's like the Echo Fox staple, though.
Yeah, and he's super good. Okay, so we
extremely happy with Froggen. Froggen is a one of those Echo Fox lifers, and if he chose to be in whatever. And understanding, I also come from the belief that players can play. Look, Scar, you proved it, right? If you given the time, you had the willingness to switch your position, right? And you played a position that's not your strength. But I guarantee you, if you were to lock yourself in a room and put the time into it, you'd come out 6 months later and be like, you know what, I'm a jungler now, and here we go. Right, so I believe players have the ability to switch positions. It's do they have the willingness to switch positions? So if you start with who are the top talented players we have on Echo Fox? Well, when it comes to league, Froggen stands out. So Froggen's a mid laner, but could he ever be another position? Yeah, if he willingly chose to be. Sure, I'm sure he could.
Okay, so maybe we don't have to have Froggen. Maybe, so if we're going to rebuild Echo Fox, what if we put Scar in mid? How's that sound to you, Scar?
You know what? I think I'm gonna take the knee on this one. You know, I think Frog is really good at what he does. Let's keep him there.
All right, here we go.
All right, what do you think about top?
Let me lock it in. Hold on, let me lock it in. Frog it. Mid.
Top lane they changed between Looper and Brandini, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like I don't really know. I think they just need someone who's able to effectively help them as a shot caller and be able to navigate like very dangerous mid and late game positions for them. I don't necessarily know or care what position he or she, the new player they pick up, is. More than likely it could be like a support player. But honestly, they just need someone to help them, I think, learn from the ground up. Because I just seems like rather than skill, Echo Fox lacks like foundational
Hold on, can you spell that? Foundational.
Yeah, I just think that they're a team where it's like you need someone to help build the foundational blocks and work up from there.
Just go that organization right there. I think you just went at organization. Fire.
Yeah, Scar, you're part of it.
Is that what you said? Fire.
No, dude. I'm just saying in like a bubble. Come on.
Yeah, no, we're just. Hey, it's safe. It's a safe bubble. Safe bubble.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong, Scar. You can say what you want, but you think that Echo Fox's problem isn't individual talent; it's more just like identity.
I think that's not their biggest problem, especially right now where individual skill matters a little bit less. Especially domestically, where I feel like you should always have like a mark where like, okay, you want to win domestically, then you move up to win to make an international splash, right? They're still like working on the domestic strength problem, and so usually from there, like rather than looking at teams and being like, wow, like they have like, I don't look at teams at their position and be like, wow, like. They're playing well as a team. Usually it's like, even if they have good players, which most of the teams have like good players relative, it's just that they lack the ability to play well together as a team. And usually that comes from like, just not, like a lack of understanding of how to play the game at some level.
So you're saying the IQ or the in-game, the game IQ could improve. Would you say that comes with the experience? So more experienced players?
Absolutely. Usually what happens for new teams is that they hire like both experienced players and like rookies to combine, right? Because then you have like the drive and like the mechanical skill from rookie players and like the old experience and the shot calling from like veteran players. But
that's how it started. Remember Scar? I mean, we came in late to the game. We only had like a week or two to try and lock down a roster. I spent 2 weeks of my life trying to, get Froggen to entrust us with his career, and he did that. And then we surrounded him with really 4 players. To this day, one of them is still with us, and Keith, who's grown with us, has gone through the highs and lows of defining his career, and we love him for his commitment to us, and at the same time, the struggles with people, really criticizing his growth, but at the same time, not celebrating the improvement, which we like to do. And then a couple guys that have gone on, like Big went on to be with Dig, and has had success there. And even our coach, Cop, has had success with Dig. Hard and is no longer with us. And then who am I missing? Oh, KFO, who went back to Korea. So that's an example of 4 really young, inexperienced players getting to cut their teeth in competition, being surrounded by Froggen, which required him to have great patience coming from the experience level that he had. So I think we're just starting to really get Froggen in positions with guys that Gate has experience. Looper obviously had a lot of experience, but now you're dealing with that import challenge that every team always deals with, which is the language barrier. But I thought Looper did everything he could diligently to make that as little of a impact is possible, but it's just a reality. Learning another language, right? That's just a challenge in itself. And then we've seen, obviously, we kind of, Acadian has come along. He was a find. So, so we've got young talent that we feel has grown in our organization. But to your point, and I'll circle back around, yes, right? If you can have more experienced individuals, whether through free agency or they just grow in your org to become experienced, then yeah, it's probably you're going to get a higher IQ.
Let me end this topic with this question then. This will go to both of you guys. If you put Ahmed Cutie Pie on Echo Fox, do they become a better or worse team, Scar?
Don't think it matters.
Fuck you. It's more entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I would personally enjoy it more, but I don't think necessarily they go much in terms of up or down. Maybe a slight up, but I think the problem doesn't stem so much from the AD position.
Are you saying I'm a low impact player, dude?
I'm just saying you could be banged, dude, and they're.
So wow, that's a huge statement right there. You're saying no one player is going to shift the fortunes of Echo Fox.
That's not true. Like if we got like an incredible, if we got like an incredible talent, certainly that they can go up or down. But I would say
that I'm not an incredible talent.
That you're almost there, Cutie. Like you're not at the level where you go on the stage and you're like, wow, dude, we really can change the world. I don't see that.
Scar, we might have to actually see this to actually.
I'm down, dude. Next year, man, Cutie, stay on for one day. I'm down to see you back in the LCS.
Scar, I'm gonna make you eat those words. Remember that, dude. When I'm holding up the World Cup, dude, I'm gonna be playing this clip at you. Remember that shit.
Hell yeah.
We're going to the next topic, Scar.
Love it. Hey, what is your thoughts? I mean, really quickly. I mean, you asked the question. I've been curious the whole time we've been in business together, and whether or not that's even something you guys look at in your own personal individual careers when you think of what is happening with league and how it's growing. And obviously, I said it's like riding a bike. You dust it off, you get out there, you put in the time. Would you guys entertain even wanting to compete at a pro level again?
I mean, I've thought about competing at a pro level again. I don't know how it is. Yeah, it's like riding a bike. Like the only thing that I'm sure, Sky, too, like the biggest thing is just learning how to play with your team, because you know how to play the game from just playing solo. Like people say solo queue is useless. It is useless, but it just teaches you the foundation. Like, okay, this champion beats this champion. I need to do this and this. Like competitively, it's about 5 people working in harmony with one another.
Wow, that's very Phil Jackson right there.
Yeah.
Right there, man. I'm like, I remember this.
I mean, to be able to get that, though, is that takes, again, hard work, dedication, all that bullshit that you always hear from people. And, the amount of effort that is to do it. Yeah, you know how it goes. It's all that stuff and more. Yeah, I would love to play pro again, but I don't know if I don't know how to phrase it other than I don't know if my heart would allow it to if I could trust myself to a team like that or some stupid shit. I don't know. Sky,
I would argue that you took the first step trusting us at Delta Fox. So I would say that I know your heart is in the game. I know your heart, all of you. I know your lives are dedicated to esports. You're you've been there. You've been at the top. You know what it feels like. And I'll tell you this much: I won a championship, but I also won 3 of them. And there's nothing like winning another one. And so I would just dangle that out there,
dude, I mean, if I won Worlds, man, I'd be fucking screaming oh. Fuck yeah, dude. I'd be all over the place. Just I mean, realistically, am I going to win Worlds anytime soon? With my level of play, of course. Yes. But I need 4 other players to be at that level. And do I think I could find 4 other players like that? Highly unlikely. Scar, though, what do you think about going back?
I always think when people look at, I'm going to deviate a little bit. When people talk about the age of League of Legends professional players, and they highlight that the age of the pro players in League are relatively young, and they look at all the other esports and they're just like, well, why is League so young? You know, you got 16-year-olds, 17. I think Contracts just celebrated his 17th or 18th birthday, to which I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so old. But in other sports, ones that require better Twitch reactions, and I would argue better mechanical skills, shooters, CSGO, like the average age is like 28 or something, 25 and up.
Right, exactly.
And so I think that, especially with League, like the constant changing of the game, and it's just like, I think if you lose your passion for the game or to play competitively, if you get distracted by other things, it's really hard to reorient yourself. And for me, like, I've kind of been distracted for a while. Like like, I don't know if I can, I don't necessarily think I've lost the passion for it. I'm not tasteless, but I think that it's tough. It's definitely very, very hard to go back, especially because I'd be starting at such a low ground compared to other people, because I do think that, like, mechanically speaking, that, like, I'm at definitely, like, a lower ledge than other people. So working my way up from there, it just requires more effort.
Did you find in the challenger realm, obviously facing other potential growing pros, did you find that your mechanics came back over the course of the few weeks you played and the amount of games you played?
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how Skara feels about this shit. Dude, I thought everyone that competed there was really good and shit, but, like, the bot lanes I played against were fucking trash. Like, obviously, it was me and Shifter. We didn't have much to work with. We had Scar in the fucking jungle, too. I don't give a fuck what anyone in the chat says. I don't give a fuck what Reddit says. I'm talking from my own experience from, like, playing the game at, like, a competitive level and, like, playing against these guys. Like, if these guys are the people that are busting their ass off every day to, like, get to the top, I feel like they're doing their best and they're trying their hardest, and that's really good of them.
Oh
but
my god!
I feel like if I went back into that shit, I'd just fucking smoke these kids. Like, it. I don't know. Maybe that's the passion in me, but that shit.
Hey, that tells me everything I need to know about you guys, man. Like, once a champion, always a champion. Once you played at the highest level, definitely from the shoulders up, you're going to always think. The IQ, you haven't lost your game knowledge. If anything, you've gotten sharper because you play the game as much as you play it. I'm telling you, man, it's just it is your heart. It is a function of are you willing to put it out there on the line again and compete? Because I think what it is for all of you is once you turn on that switch, you'll be so obsessed with getting back to the pinnacle that it'd be hard to turn that off. So I understand the reserved approach and the cautiousness that comes with making such a commitment, because it is life. It is consuming. It is all consuming.
Yeah. I would like to do it again, but yeah, maybe I'm just too much of a bitch now. I have no idea. I've thought about it. It's like, that would be awesome, but I don't know what's stopping me.
We'll keep thinking. It's the off season.
Yeah, Scar, you got a desire for it though, or no?
It's something where it's like you'd always look and you're just like, it'd be nice, you know? I think that it'd be great, but it's also something where it's like I'm so into other things right now. Like, I'm trying to balance so many other things that, like, I'd have to put them all aside to compete. Because when I was competing, I literally did nothing but focus on the game. Actually nothing. And to throw everything aside to go back, that's a hard commitment. That's like something where it's like, that's like a life decision that you need to make after thinking for a while.
Yeah, I agree. Any thoughts on Chipter and Boy and Darius?
They're all garbage as hell. Just take them off the roster. We'll go on to the next topic, though. They're garbage as hell.
Hold on one second. Sign Delta Fox to long-term deals is number one. So you're going to have to reevaluate.
No, just sign on McCutie Pie. Rest of them, just take them off the roster and put the money that you were giving them into my contract, and then we're all good. All right, the next topic In the recent relegation match, X Special wore emotions on his sleeve. What's the most emotional you've ever been playing or watching League of Legends? So I guess me and Scar will start off from the playing League of Legends. I think the most emotional I ever got when I played League was when we ended up getting to, what was it called? We got through, remember at PAX Scar, what was it for? It was to get into the LCS, right?
Yes.
Yeah, to get into the LCS, I remember that shit, like, we played, what was it? It was like the longest game ever at the time. We played against CLG. It was like a 120 minute.
That was was that the one where Crumbs had to buy a Lich Blade on Italy?
Yeah, it was like
chip the tower.
It was like a legit.
It was an hour 20 minutes.
It's a long game. It was one of the longest ever.
Yeah, it was like
small ones, but hour 20, man. That's out there.
No,
yeah.
I don't think it was that long, but it was
it was like 90 minutes. Like, it was legit a fucking, like, cause no one wanted to lose the game cause it was to get a guaranteed spot in. So we just played the most reserved gameplay and we just like, oh my God. I just remember how absolutely awful that was. It was an hour plus the Scara, right?
I'm pretty sure it was over an hour.
Yeah, that was just that game right there. When we fucking won that thing, I got so fucking hyped up. Like, I don't show that I got hyped up, but in my head I was like, hell yeah, dude. Like, we won that shit. Good stuff, everyone. Like, that was probably the most emotional I got winning that, because that pretty much transitioned from, because back then it was just League of Legends was, I mean, competitive esports in general was just like some random bullshit. And like, I've been playing video games basically my whole life. So like, to go from just playing video games my whole life for just being a fucking loser, like being a loser but getting paid to do it, it's like, yeah, good shit, man. I don't know how to get emotional with you on that. That's probably the most hype that I got, though.
That's
Scott,
pretty hype.
Yeah.
Winning a slot to go to the LCS? Come on, man.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
I remember a lot of the times where we're just like Dignitas were perennial underdogs. Even though they're multiple times at the top of the season, people, for the most part, were just like, they're always not very good. So two things come to mind. One, before we even were the Team Dignitas, IPL 3, we played and won the first ever event we came together for. Yeah. And we had a substitute in mid lane. I was playing an off position. I bought the character I played in the finals the week before. And I played 4 games of him before I brought him up on stage. So like, that's how old we're talking about. When we won, I was like, we can do this. I am kind of good. I'm not. I was like really feeling it. And then this follows straight into IEM New York. One of the first IEMs for League of Legends where we just get smashed.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
In like the most disgusting fashion, and the reason why this is such a funny moment for me, and I look in hindsight, is because I was talking to someone, a writer at the time, and they told me, Scar, this should be a really easy group for you. You have Fnatic in your group, and honestly, they suck right now. Like, they're really not very good. And we're just like, Fnatic sucks? Awesome, dude. What a free group. We just won our last tournament. Let's make it 2. And then Fnatic just like stomps the group and wins the event. Oh, holy.
And I remember that tournament. We got fucking rolled on that shit. So those are good times. Rick, is there...
I love these stories, man. I mean, A, because I love history. And I love hearing the history that I wasn't a part of, and just hearing it from you guys is pretty cool. Mine is just as far back as our second split in league, when relegation was just strong as hell in the system, and we went 1-17. We sucked. We went 1-17, and we had to go to the relegation tournament. And I remember I would walk from my house, which would be about an hour and a half. I just walk because I couldn't, the stress was just so intense. I needed to walk and think about it. And I had my own little ritual where I thought I was bringing good luck to the team. And I would get to LCS Studios over there on Olympic. And I would get there, sit in the back row right by the announcers. And the first game, the first series was against Liquid. And, they run videos beforehand and, you know, they interview the players, and the players, you know, give you their thoughts and opinions about what's going to go down. And man, they were talking so much smack about us and so much smack about our players and how we were trash and how we were a joke and a laughing stock and how they were just going to kill us. And we won. We got the first 2 games, Liquid jumped out on us, and we were down 2-0. And it was literally like we were about to be out of the league. Echo Fox LCS team was about to be no more. And we ended up reverse sweeping them to get and to save our hides to go on to play P1, who was new to the LCS that split. And they had improved to a point where, and later in that season, they'd gotten decent enough, and they swept us. They 3-0'd us like the next day like that. And each day, you got to remember, I'm walking an hour and a half to get to the LCS, and I'm walking back home. And so now we had one more shot against Energy. And Energy at the time was Shaq's team, my former teammate. He had joined Energy with Gerard and Andy Dillon and those guys. And you know, all these reporters are writing about how it's, you know, the matchup was, you know, Shaq and Rick, and someone's going to go home and lose their franchise. And I decided to go in my safe at my house, and I grabbed my 3 championship rings, and I put them in my pocket, and I walked all the way to the arena, and I got in. I remember there was nobody in the arena at the LCS for the promotional, like, do or die. And it was along at the other end of the arena was the gentleman that was representing Energy, Andrew, and his son, his young son. And here we were, you know, getting ready to, one of us was going to go home a loser. And we ended up 3-0ing Energy. And I just remember I was so relieved. I mean, I was so filled with emotion. I couldn't even, like this big sigh of relief just came out. And I went over because then I immediately remembered what it felt like to be on the other side. So it was hard to celebrate. And so I just went over and I just was like, man, I'm sorry you guys are having to deal with this now. And you know, one of us was going to have to feel this. And I'm sorry that you're the one that has to feel it. And then I went over and I just, you know, talked to some of the other players on the other side because we compete and we battle and there's winners and losers. But man, when you care about something and you put your life and your energy and your time and your money and everything behind it, and you fall short, or in our case, it was just a promotional tournament. We survived to fight another day and to be in the league this past year again. And man, I remember walking home, that hour and a half walk back to my house. I was torn. I had so much joy because we made it. I was so proud of our players because they were 1-17, yet they improved obviously enough to be able to make it through a 3-day tournament like that. Froggen, I was so grateful that Froggen was able to pull us through with his excellence because it was like he literally just dug deep and carried us. But at the same time, I called Gerard. I called guys that were other owners in the league that I knew they were probably feeling like shit at the moment, and I just tried to, you know, be a friend and console them. And unfortunately, they're not a part of the league anymore, which is kind of tough to think because we kind of all came in at the same time. So wherever this goes going forward, that'll always be probably my proudest moment. And really surprisingly, when I think back on it, you remember how hard Tony Hard used to get abused by the community when it came to him as a jungler, and how, you know, he was really a young player, a young kid that was trying to figure out how to be a pro, and he was just getting beat up mercilessly. And, you know, and sometimes, you know, look, I always say as a pro, there's the highs and the lows, right? If you believe them when they tell you you're great, then you got to believe them when they tell you suck, right? And he was getting a lot of that. And when he walked off the stage at the end and I was giving each guy like kind of like a pound, you know, I gave him a hug. I was like, man, I was so happy for him in that moment because he played a big role. And, you know, this is a long-winded story, but I'll always remember that moment because here we are, right, looking at potentially maybe continuing on it with a franchise, but none of that would have been possible if it wasn't for those 5 guys that saved our ass, quite frankly. And some of them aren't even with us. Froggen and Keith are still with us, but we owe a debt of gratitude to Big and to Hard and to KFO, because they for those three days, man, they found something in themselves as a group to get us through that, get us through that potential relegation.
Man, you're a good man, dude. If I were in your position, and thank God I'm not a league owner, because if I had to go through relegations, I beat anyone, dude. I'd be like, fuck you guys, I'm the greatest. That's why I'm still in this shit, bitch. You can't get rid of me. Dude, I would have been so hyped up off that.
Hold on. I'll tell you right now, man, there's a couple matchups that if I'd have been faced against certain people, I would have had those very same, feelings, and it may have bubbled over, and I may have promoted those very same words. It was something about Shaq and Energy and those guys that had just come in that it was just hard for me not to feel their pain. And look, beating Liquid at the time when they were talking so much trash really felt good. Now, but I also felt for those 5 guys from Challenger Team Liquid Academy, because some of those guys literally, they were guys that I'd followed and thought about recruiting and signing, and some cases guys filled in for us when we were at visas. So it was hard, man. Like Solo and Golden Glue, like those guys, yeah, they talked a lot of trash maybe, but hey, who doesn't talk trash in professional sports? That's a part of the game, right? And them not making it in, they eventually obviously have moved on. In the case of Golden Glue, he's a part of Liquid now. They've gone on to have careers themselves, but I never. It's hard for me to see any pro fall short of their dream like they had to become an LCS team and not feel for them. So, but there's organizations in the LCS that I share a similar competitive fire that you expressed right there. I really haven't had any of those moments against them yet to celebrate. We're still taking our lumps and having to be, have humility because we're not that good yet. But there will be a moment in time when we get to celebrate.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though, because NRG had my boy. That's when Kiwi Kid was still on it, right, Scara?
Yes.
And you guys relegated his ass just like that, dude. That was rough for me.
all those guys are great guys, man. I mean, you got to remember, as an owner, when I first came in, I had to try and recruit these guys. So a lot of them I'd spoken to and, tried to, get a deal done at times with guys to be a part of our org. And they went and maybe chose other teams, or we just didn't get a deal done. And so I kind of knew I had a relationship with them. So it was kind of hard,
Yeah, I feel you on that one, man. Being an owner that's an emotional roller coaster. I don't think I could deal with. That's way too much.
Yeah. You know what's hard about it is that I'm a former player, right? And I'm just like, see on list number 3, list number 2, grind to level 30. I'm still trying to grind to 30, right? Because I'm a former player, and the only way I can compete is in the game right now, but not as a pro. And I want to be good. I want to be good enough to win games. And so, when you're a pro, man, you're grinding and it's your life, man. That's what, that's competitively as an owner. I can't go out on the rift. I don't have that skill level. So, but I live and die with the losses every day.
Would you want to have that skill level though? Do you want?
Oh yeah.
Would you play for Echo Fox if you could get to that level?
Well, no. If I could get to your level, the level that you guys can compete at, or the pros that compete today, hell yeah, I'd sign with them.
Well, what role do you play? Do you play a role specifically or no?
You and I kind of play the same role, so I'd love to spend some time with you, just telling me where I'm just heading down the wrong road aimlessly.
You're an AD carry?
Yeah, right now, yeah.
You're a good guy, dude. That's what I like to hear.
I really don't know if it's my true position in terms of my character. I know it isn't mechanically, that's for damn sure. But I've chosen the aggressive. I'm an aggressive guy. I've chosen I like to shoot the ball.
Yeah, if you're the larger than life player, dude, you choose the AD carry role. That's where big boys play, dude. That's the big boy role. Dude, mid lane's a joke, Scar. Don't get me started
serious?
on mid.
If you're a man of culture, you play mid lane. That's just a fact. If you're an AD carry, you need to be carried by another person, babysat till you get like strong enough to fight. I'm just saying, consider that role change. Mid lane is a very good position.
Nah, mid.
Hey, well, you know what? Maybe we should do. Maybe you guys can help me. I'll either come and play with you guys, or you play with me, or something. And I'll walk through each roles with each of one of you guys, and you can help me figure out if I'm really an AD or a mid or a jungler.
I think you're an AD. You're without a doubt an AD. There's no question about it.
Maybe you can give me some tips, man. We'll play some games. You can give me some tips.
Yeah, I can help you out with that. Don't worry, don't sweat it about that. Let's go though. Let's move on to the next topic. Rick, as the main face of Echo Fox, what do you consider to be your hardest challenge on a daily basis?
Keeping control of my emotions around the wins and the losses, because I get I like winning, and we haven't had a ton of it, right? We've had some of it, and so maintaining my composure and not being rash when it comes to player movement and really being patient with the development of our talent. And really supporting them so that they have the right people around them is, constantly trying to grow, for me daily in just the meta of the game, understanding it's why I try to play it as much as I can so I can, add some value in the area of when I watch. I've watched more league. I've watched as much league as anyone in the last 2 years, because I have this feverish passion to want to figure it out, and it's not easy to do. And so, that's my greatest challenge is just being patient and understanding that we're not going to be champions overnight. We got a ways to go. But man, is it enjoyable being on this journey to try and figure it all out. And when I get overly excited when we get out of the gates, 2-0 or on a season at the start, and then we hit the pitfall and we fall short in the middle, not to let the highs be too high, not let the lows be too low, because, we're in the game. And if you're in the game, then there are going to be winning seasons and they're going to be losing seasons. And, you just want to keep trying to maintain and keep a level of consistency like some of the other top tier teams have done. They've been, the TSMs and the C9s and CLG and Team Liquid have obviously been around for a long time, but they keep a level of, well, I can't really speak to Liquid the last couple of years. They look a little more like us. But they've had a little level of success, which I respect. And Steve, Jack, Andy, George, those four guys, I look up to those guys, what they do in league. They get it done right. They figure out how to do it. And I joke, paid by Steve, I make a joke about that, but Steve will do whatever it takes to friggin' put Liquid in a position to compete and win, man. And I respect that. So, those guys are kind of like the godfathers of ownership when it comes to league. They've been around for a long time. And, so, these are the people that, as an owner, I need to get as good as, All
right. Fair enough. Let's go. We got, how much do you keep in contact with your old teammates that you used to play with?
I see Shaq on the regular. Kobe I talk to occasionally. We have a running joke around the office because no one's seen Kobe at the office yet. So they go, "You don't know Kobe. You don't really know Kobe." But we keep a pulse on each other's activities. Let's see who else. D Fish I'll see occasionally at events. Robert Ory I'll see occasionally. If I go down to the Staples Center, which is rare now because my entire life is esports, so unless we're playing at the Worlds at Staples Center, I'm really no reason to go down there. The Lakers, I can catch up with them on TV, but I'll see Brian Shaw. So my life, so much of my life is esports, and not all, so many of them are not involved in esports. So it's less and less than it used to be. But I love them the same. I miss them the same. And I hope more of them like Shaq, get in and be a part of esports.
Well, let me ask Scott. You came up with this question. What were you hoping for? Are you looking to see if there are any new investors coming in?
Nah, dude. And plus, I know I've heard some stuff about franchising, dude. If anything, it's not that we're lacking investors; it's that we got too many, actually. And so,
can you guys give me an update? Because I've done everything I can to control my emotions around it, so I try not to track it. I try to stay as away from as much news as possible. But I've heard 250 applications. I've heard all sorts of news, and I turned it off just to keep saying.
I've not heard that many, but I've heard there's been an incredible amount of interest, honestly, and to the point where everyone I know that's been in the scene for a while has been approached at some point to be a part of a new team.
Oh wow, yeah. See, that's great. That's opportunities for everyone that have been the foundation to this all of these things. The pros, the people that are commenting, everyone that's been a part of league should be reaping the benefits in some way. You know what I mean? And I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, wow, I haven't even been keep track of this shit either. So damn, that's a whole lot of people trying to get in on this. I didn't even realize it was that many.
Yeah, but back to the original question, I just wanted to know, man. Are people really close in touch with their teammates? I wanted to actually know, I don't know. Me personally, I don't really talk to too many of my old teammates. Obviously, I talk to Kiwi here and there, but for a lot of my old teammates and Kiwi, but that's pretty much it, you know. And Crumbs in his interview, or AMA, a couple days ago, was saying how he didn't really talk to anyone that he used to play with. So I was just curious what it was like for other people.
Yeah, no, I would say we probably maintain, Scar, the same level of communication I do with my former teammates as you do with yours. It is a mutual love and respect that you have. You guys competed together, and there's also things you've gone through that may not have been enjoyable, so you try not to talk about those as much. But we have big lives. Everyone has a big life, right? Everyone has their own responsibilities. Everybody's building their own careers. And when you catch up with each other, it's usually at an event. You come across each other at some point, sometimes in the most surprising ways, and then you go down memory lane and you relive the old days, right? So, I would say I'm more like you in that regard. You have good relationships, but they're not you don't wake up every morning and give certain people a call to see how they're doing, right?
Right.
All right. Well, we got one more topic. It's everyone's favorite. It's going to be live question and answer, Discord Q&A. I know, Twitch chat, you guys have been waiting for it. You hop on the Discord, ask some questions. I'm going to head over there right now. I'm going to handpick some quality questions for my friends here. So let's get it started. I'm going to start off with my man, KB Mo. Wants to know, do you think that esports is more demanding of players than traditional sports, because living in a house together?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I could live in a house with my teammates, my professional teammates. It'd be that because there's no breathing room, right? I mean, it's hard, and esports has grown and evolved beyond that. We've made it very clear to our players at the start of this past split that, we want them to have a life outside of living together. And Froggen, example, Froggen has his own place. Certain guys have their own places, and we support that, and they want that. And we have our practice facility that's been built and been here for the last, 2 splits here in Beverly Hills. These guys come and they show up to practice every day and work at the facility and do whatever they need to do, and then some of them live in walking distance, and here in Beverly Hills, they walk home. And that's more of the life I had as a pro. And so that's what we push for all our guys to get to. Now, we have a couple of gaming houses here in Beverly Hills that we have for when teams and players come and visit from outside. Some of our H1Z1 team is mostly made up of European players. When they come here, they'll come and spend the month in the house in Beverly Hills and walk to the practice facility and work out here. So that's something we've been doing for the last year, and it's great. And so that's kind of us,
Okay. Let me ask you. George wants to know thoughts on esports potentially being in the 2024 Olympics.
Hell yeah, it's coming. 2028 is here in LA, so I definitely bet my left nut on it being in the 2028 Olympics for sure. And I think it will make Paris. I think it will.
So you bet your left nut 2028 esports in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I love esports. I want it to grow as big as it can. The thing is, I don't know if, I don't think esports needs to be in the Olympics, so I don't know how many people. What do you think? Where are you going to say
That's exactly what I mean, man. People are like, esports is going crazy. It's on TV. I want it to be in the Olympics. I'm just like, I would want it to be. I want it to do its own stuff. I don't think it needs to be on television and certain networks. I don't think it needs to be in the Olympics. I think it already is a big enough entity that you can't really ignore it. It's like the elephant in the room, right? And so it's only growing bigger. I don't know. What's the point of having to crush on the Olympics? That's just my general thoughts about it. I think it's too many people want to make it they think they know what mainstream is, and they want it to conform to mainstream standards. But it doesn't come from mainstream origins. Is my argument. So I think that it travels its own kind of route, and it doesn't need to necessarily be on all these lifestyle brands, entities, competitions, stuff like that.
So you're the purist in you loves the niche element and the exclusivity of the community, and you would prefer that it stay kind of organically grown and
Nah, I'm not like that crazy about it. I'm not fighting game community crazy where they want everything in house and everything kind of no artificial growth at all. I'm just saying that I don't think it needs I would say mainstream platforms to be successful. It's already successful, and it'll be at a situation where it can be successful without the use of these. It's not necessary. It might be nice.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would definitely say. I mean, a lot of people think that what it is. It's that, and I hear you. What I'm hearing you say is that it doesn't need their validation. It doesn't. And then it's not looking. Esports is not looking for some stamp of approval or some validation that the Olympics might bring, or the fact that it's on TV. That's their own. That's their own definition of acceptance. No one's looking to be accepted. It's its own thing. So I respect that. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem is I just feel what you said, Scar, about some people just. It feels like a lot of things just become forced with esports. If it gets into the Olympics, that'd be cool. But the way that I can't imagine the way that they would handle esports in a way that wouldn't just be cliche and just awful. Did you see the what was it, the international? They won the finals or whatever. They brought out the champagne. Did you see that clip? Yeah, that kind of stuff. I see that stuff, and then I just imagine the Olympics is just going to be filled with that kind of garbage.
That was poor. That was poor production and preparation. They just didn't educate the players. They didn't say, "Look, celebrate how you want to celebrate. This is your time. Yes, we're going to capture it so the fans can celebrate with you, but don't. I mean." Maybe they don't want to pop champagne bottles. The young gentleman couldn't get the cork open. No, I'm sure no one showed him how to do it. And maybe one of them doesn't drink. Maybe they didn't want to drink. One gentleman was like, "No, I'm not drinking. I don't want to drink." What? And so it's that's what we're talking about when we talk about forcing something down. That's maybe over here in this traditional world, right? And I cringed too, man. I was like, let them be themselves. Let them do what they want to do. Maybe they want to throw the champagne bottle at you and hit you in the head with it. Like, maybe that's, I don't know. But don't impose something that's not what they would naturally do. Right. And so, and that, I agree, man. But it was structured in a way where it was like, okay, now you must walk to the room where we're going to watch you celebrate. And everyone's like, well, now you're going to get up on the podium and we're going to interview you. And it felt structured incorrectly. It's not to attack the event production people, because it's hard doing an event. I know that. I've done it. But I think you have to follow. When people celebrate, you have to let them do what they want to do and capture it. And it is what it is. You can't impose them to be something they're not, or to do something that they don't want to do.
Yeah, that's the problem again that I just have with that kind of like Olympic celebrations and stuff like that. I just can't imagine that they'd handle it in a way that wouldn't just come off as absolutely terrible. Because whenever I see esports like on a bigger stage, they just want them to be like sports types of people, like popping champagne, all that bullshit. Like if I won the world championships, I wouldn't be like fucking running off into my Ferrari, driving off, popping champagne bottle. I'd be like, I did it. I fucking did it, dude. Yeah.
And see that's what was missing. And those players, the Dota players from Liquid, they were having that moment. They just won a shitload of money. They just went through a grueling tournament. They became champions. Like, that's overwhelming. I've been there. I don't care what the stage is. That's overwhelming. The fans were responding to the level we've grown accustomed to maybe seeing a sporting arena respond. They were enjoying it and celebrating, but the players were taking it in. They were like, holy cow, like, we did it. We finally did it, right? And I guarantee you there are esport pros that would pop bottles of champagne. I got a couple of them in my org. They celebrate everything. They pop bottles and they enjoy celebrating, right? But that's them, right? That's a different person. Everyone's different. You can't, it's just not, it doesn't need to be scripted the same way.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be hyped up, though, if it does get into the Olympics. I just hope that it's handled in a lot better way than a lot of the other mainstream, I guess, esports things are handled. Let's see. Nibbles wants to know, what kind of restrictions do esports apply onto players that the NBA doesn't? So I guess what kind of...
That's another good question. Wow, I'm trying to think. I mean, we don't. I mean, and obviously for me, any restriction that was imposed on me, I'd never put it on my players, just because I didn't like restrictions. We create structure. I mean, there's obviously structure around our org and what we stand for and how we go about our business. I'm trying to think what would be different about it. Well, early on, we imposed our players to live. I mean, we had them living together, which I would never, I removed that. I didn't like that. We provide them housing, but if they choose to live elsewhere, that's okay with us. We impose, in all of our contracts, we have things that we agree to between both parties that might not be in an NBA contract. I'm trying to think. I can call one of our lawyers in here.
I think the answer, nothing crazy for esports players.
Yeah. I don't think anything, actually.
All right. Salmon wants to know, do you think esports will overgrow classic sports?
I think it will. I think it will be this generation's focus. And that's not to say, look, I watch comedies on TV and then I watch dramas. I go to the movies and I see action films. Like, I play I play H1Z when I play League. I play Overwatch. I play, a lot of games, myself, right? But I don't see it as splitting my focus. So, I think they're just going to take up space. They're going to take up space and people's attentions that are interested in games and esports as competition will spend their time there, and we're seeing it, man. It's just a reality. I started playing the Atari 2600 as a kid, and that takes me all the way back to the age of 10, and I played video games my entire life. A lot of people didn't know that, but I have, right? I competed with myself against my teammates, and went through high school and college and pros. I've just always done it. So I introduced it to my son. It's how we spent our time, and it's just a part of my life. So to think that I can watch it on my phone, or I can go online and compete against people anywhere in the world, that's like my dream. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's the world of gaming evolving. And so, do I watch NBA basketball a lot now? Not as much as I watch esports. Do I watch TV as much? No, I play games. I play games and I watch esport competitions. That's 80% of my day, and that's who I am. But I enjoy that, and I don't feel like I miss anything else. I don't miss anything else.
Well, let me ask you: do you think esports will be coming to like TV anytime soon? Will we see the World Championships, like the Super Bowl or something?
They'll split the media rights simply because someone's gonna, will pay. Someone will pay who's ever putting the event on. Someone will pay, to put it on TV as well. But I think the majority of the audience is going to live digitally, whether it, through all the platforms that we see already established. And you look at Twitch has been established. We see MLG with Overwatch League will have, they'll probably air some of that league there. We've seen individual games have their own sites that pop up and stream their competitions. Facebook is in the game now. YouTube is in the game. We'll see. I'm sure we'll see other platforms pop up, but that's the beauty of technology. It's gotten us to a place where who needs a TV? I got a TV on my wall right now. I never turn it on. I don't turn on my TV. My son, I checked him into college a couple of years back and got him a TV, and I asked him, you want a TV with cable and channel? He was like, no, just give me some Wi-Fi. I was like, I don't want a TV. So who's watching TV? No one's. You got a monitor. Everything's coming through your phone, your laptop, or your desktop monitor.
Yeah, so, I know what you mean on that. Use my TV for anything. That thing's.
I really don't.
Yeah, that thing's just a nice little. It's like a nice little part of the room to put it all together. But I haven't turned that thing on forever.
Like art now. It's like art. Like in 20 years, someone's gonna walk in your house, and if you have one of those things on your wall, they're gonna be like, "Who's that artist?" That's this guy Samsung.
That's that ancient thing right there. Let me go with this. Is gonna be the final question for the live Q&A, though. Lindy, he wants to know: do you think that franchising League of Legends will ultimately bring in more viewers that don't have any experience with esports?
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, I can't imagine how I wouldn't. Like, just money-wise, right? You can push, like, really big marketing schemes if you have the amount of money that, like, Riot's going to have pretty soon, right? And so, just off that, and a lot of the big brands want this to be successful. You have all these NBA owners coming in, NFL owners who are going to be like, we have this new project, and we'd really appreciate if all you fans looked at our project. And people are like, and some of the fans for sport clubs are insane. Like, like Cowboys fans, for instance, will just like essentially follow them for like anything Cowboys related, even tangentially. And same thing with like Toronto Maple Leaf fans, like here, are also like really, really diehard like that. And so I think that there's no question that it'll get more attention. Whether or not that retention will stay over the course of a couple of years, now that's going to be interesting. But it'll definitely get more eyeballs.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
And I hope so. Look, we know the game, right? We know we're invested in it on a daily basis. It's our lives. Like, it's what we do. And so we know how much joy we derive from it. And we know, I quite frankly believe there's a ton of people out there that enjoy gaming and competitively enjoy it, but also now have discovered they can actually watch it, in their hands at their on a daily basis. If they could just discover that, I still believe there's so many people out there that don't even know they can do that, or haven't even discovered the games we love. If they can discover that, man, more people to beat up on when we go in game. You know, pretty cool.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Actually, that wasn't the final question because I got one more question for you. This is the real final question. Rick Fox, let's say you're in a life or death situation. Echo Fox is going into relegation, and Keith McBreath's dead. You have to choose between Double Lift and I'm a Cutie Pie. Who do you pick?
Well, I'm going with family, man. Your family.
But let's say we weren't family. Let's say you had to pick them based solely on merit alone.
I'm going. Hey, you give me your trust. You have my trust, bro. That's how I
but let's just say nothing trust related. Solely on gameplay.
Solely on gameplay.
Solely on gameplay.
You are my man. I'm going with you.
This guy, dude, this is a lot. I'm gonna be a Delta Foxer for life, dude. Let's do this question again. If we had to pick between Bjergsen and Skara, I'm choosing Bjergsen. Who are you choosing? If I had to be on this team, I'm saying who does Rick Fox choose?
What kind of question is this?
First of all, I need to know how many chicken nuggets can you eat, Scar?
Chicken nuggets?
Yeah, I saw a video where Bjergsen was competitively competing with his teammates eating chicken nuggets.
Oh, I mean,
the fire was real, man. He was not about the L. He was not about the L.
Are we talking those like Dino Nuggets, dude? I'm down. Like I'd kick his ass. Definitively can say that.
That's all. That tells me in or out of game, your competitive fire, just right there. That right there, that sold me.
So I
need to know that you would go the distance.
So you're saying eating chicken nuggets is a direct translation to your ability to play League of Legends?
Tells me how far you're willing to go. Yeah. It shows me, because it shows me competitively there are no limits.
Okay. Rick Fox, I love you, man. I love you, but I'm going to have to disagree. I choose Bjergsen every time. Yeah, I'm going Bjergsen.
So is Bjergsen a free agent? Is he free? Or this is in this world?
I mean, when we make our super team, he's going to be free. Once you get me on there, he's going to be free. You tell him I'm on the roster, it's a done deal.
He's coming for no money?
Yeah, you already know. Dude, you don't have to, he'd pay you to join that roster to have the honor of playing with me. It would be.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So he's gonna play what? Support to your AD?
He can play whatever he wants, dude. You put anyone on there, dude. You put Faker on top lane.
You got Froggen.
Yeah, put Froggen in the jungle, whatever.
I think you put Bjergsen up on the top lane. He'd probably go up there and just hold down.
Yeah, he could do something up there. Dude, like, I'm telling you, you put anyone anywhere, you put me on AD. It didn't work on Delta Fox, though.
We've seen Scar be willing to play jungle. Scar, would you be willing to be his support?
Okay, I'm gonna have to interrupt that. Wait. I'm gonna have to interrupt that. I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna do you and me a favor.
I wouldn't even say yes in the first place, dude. At this point, I'd rather find a way to like resuscitate Keith from the dead than play with you.
By the way, newsflash, Keith is still alive.
Yeah, this is all a hypothetical right here. Hey, Scott, dude.
Keith McBree.
Scott, that was messed up, man. Come on.
He lives on. Hey, so hold on. Who's your support then?
You get anyone, man. You just put if you want to keep Keith McBree, you can put him as my support, dude. Put Keith McBree on that support.
Over Scar, is that what you're saying to me?
Yeah, I'll take anything over Scar. Rick Fox, you want to start playing competitive? I'll take you over Scar. Dude, just put anyone on that role.
I gotta get to level 30. I got a couple more months.
All right, I'll try to help you out getting to level 30
right now. I'm grinding.
All right, though. We're gonna conclude Beyond the Rift. So you heard it here, folks. I'm a cutie pie greater than double lift in accordance to my man Rick Fox, and that's gonna conclude Beyond the Rift today. I want to thank you all for joining us. I want to thank our special guest, Rick Fott. Thank you. It was an honor to have you.
It was great times.
Scott,
thank you, guys. Hey, and thank you for trusting us with joining Delta Fox, and I hope we do more fun things together, man.
Hey, we'll be doing a whole lot. Scar, I want to thank you, my lovable co-host. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks a lot. And Kitty, what number Beyond the Rift are we at right now?
We're on number 1 because this is season 2, baby.
Oh,
yeah, we're back at it again now after this. But that's going to conclude season 2, episode number 1 of Beyond the Rift. I hope you guys had a wonderful time here. I'll catch you guys next Thursday. Love you all. Have a good one. Peace.
Bye, guys.